And are we recording this, by the way? We need to make sure that there's a recording in process. Phil?
I just saw it come on, it looks like.
I just started recording.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Okay. Metropolitan Auditorium Commission meeting Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 at 2:00 p.m. We will start off by reading the appeal of decisions. Pursuant to the provisions of 268030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that the decisions of the Metropolitan Nashville Municipal Auditorium Commission may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the commission. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes? All right. Are there any questions, concerns about the minutes as recorded?
Mr. Chair, can we do the electronic meetings?
Yes. Thank you, Teresa. Okay. First of all, what we need to do is we need to pass a motion accepting that we're going to do this electronically because of the extenuating circumstances. So I would like to entertain a motion that we conduct this particular commission meeting electronically because of the extenuating circumstances of the pandemic. Do I hear, can I entertain that motion? Do I hear
So moved.
So moved. Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. Okay, let's move on to the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes? Were there any questions, concerns about the way the minutes were recorded? All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. The minutes have been approved. I would like to ask each of you commission members that email that was sent to you with the minutes in it, please reply, and in that reply say signed and then your name, and that will suffice for us passing around the piece of paper having the written approval signed.
Should we copy all, or is it just to you and staff? I mean, copy all.
Y'all's fine, just so everybody's, everybody sees it.
I would caution the commissioners to be careful using reply all and emailing each other just to make sure that it is just about procedural matters and not anything substantive.
Got it. So replying all, just saying nothing else but signed and your name should be okay?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, cool.
It's just anything that might be amount to deliberation on a matter that would come before the board would be problematic.
Understood. Okay. Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum Report. Do we have anybody representing?
Angela's on here.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Angela, there you are. I see you. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. We're doing great. We are still rocking along. We are trying to get back in the event business. So we submitted a blanket request to see if we could get approval by the Metro Health Department, and they said we're going to have to do it on each individual case. So that's going to be a little challenging to book events, but we're looking to get back into that business very soon. I do want to thank everyone involved in moving the ladies smoking on the corner of the building that we're on. They moved it over to Fifth Avenue. That's very nice and noticed and appreciated. And the only other thing that's been going on since our last meeting is we've had 5 different leaks of the water pipe. One was quite extensive, and even Don picked up a mop on that one. But that one has been repaired, and I think that Don said he's going to try to do something to slow the leaks down or stop the leaks. You know, the one I guess that I'm most concerned about was we did have a leak within the Grammy Gallery, and there's so much electronics in there that it could be a huge devastating damage if it were to leak bad in there. And I heard from about that leak from someone upstairs that one of the ladies or multiple ladies had brought in alcohol and marijuana, and they had hid it behind a washing machine and inadvertently unhooked something is what caused that leak. So of course that's a concern too, that there's, I guess, contraband being brought into the building. But that's where we are.
Agreed. I will say that I will bet my house that there was contraband being brought into the building during the events too.
But most definitely, we've discussed that before. There's been plenty of marijuana smoke in our area many times.
So noted. So noted.
Okay, I'm going to answer some of the questions. In reference to the leaks, it's old building, old bones. The high pressure lines are compromised in that area. They're starting to. I've started taking bids on that. We're going to replace the high pressure lines from the entire lobby area, Angela. So
yeah.
That whole area will have new pipes in there. So
Wonderful.
Those pipes will all be replaced, and we'll also have shut-off valves installed in a drain that we can run those pipes down to a drain in case a leak does happen. And we've also ordered some new clamps in the meantime that we can put around those pipes if there is a leak, that'll temporarily stop that until they come in, fix it. And they're reusable clamps. They're a big they're expensive, but they're worth it. So that's been done. And as far as the leak in the Grammy, that you're correct, that was the washer dryer room, and there was no alcohol. There was, I think, a little bit of marijuana, but somebody just moved the hose away from the drain spout, and it filled up that slab. So once that was put back, it alleviated that. And they go in and out with them in that room now. They're not allowed in there by themselves anymore. So security signs them in, signs them out. So that's been taken care of as well.
Wonderful. I appreciate all of your efforts, Don. You really have stepped up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And by the way, I'd like to take note. I love the way that the Hall of Fame Museum and the Municipal Auditorium are working so well together. It's good to hear. It's good to hear that you have issues when you do have them, Angela, and it's great to hear that Don is addressing those. So thank you all for working so well together.
It feels good too. Feels good.
Awesome. Fantastic. Manager's report. Don or Tanisha? Both?
Go ahead, Tanisha.
Tanisha, you on mute?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
There you go. We got you now.
Oh, you can hear me now. I'm sorry. My computer's been giving me trouble today. But everything is going well at the municipal. We are booking events currently. We have a lot of dates that we have held and booked for up until June. We have the volleyball league that is confirmed, that will be taking up several dates starting the end of January, all the way up until, so that's a good thing. So we're still booking. We're just waiting for the mayor to give us the approval to open up the doors to host concerts and large gatherings. And we've also started phase 2 of the bathroom renovations, and our bathrooms are looking good so far.
Nice. And so with the homeless women that are being housed in there, how long does the city anticipate that that's going to go, or do they know?
So right now, the women's shelter is there until December.
Okay.
So they'll be deep cleaning toward the end of the month of December, and so that we'll be able to open the doors in January.
Okay.
And I'm assuming, Blake, that they're going to move the women back out to the fairgrounds for the winter with the men.
Okay.
Back out to that facilities. I haven't heard anything past January. I mean, past December. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Okay.
they'll go back out there.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Anything else?
No. Everything's just kind of putting along with the shelter being in there. She addressed the. Luckily, we were able to do the restroom renovations all kind of one big swoop. They're pretty much all done up top. We've got one section left, and they're looking really good. So you need to come out and look at them sometime. But it looks great.
Fantastic.
Hey,
All right.
This is Perry. I was joined a few minutes late. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I wanted to just ask, based on my email about council meeting, is the report that was just given by Tanisha and Don something that could be forwarded to council member Reese or to the whole council as a follow-up? Is that possible?
Absolutely. And then we can have somebody, representative, show up if we need to and give an overview as well if need be, Perry. I know that you were kind of caught off guard when you were there, and appreciate you jumping in and doing a stellar job. But but if the council needs someone to come up there and give an overview and a report, we'd be happy to do that. I don't know the next steps to do that.
I didn't get the sense that they were now asking for someone to come up there, but I just thought, because I was only speaking extemporaneously, that a good follow-up before John goes before. And this is just a thought. So if you decide differently, so John doesn't get accosted with the same set of questions.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
2021 looks great for us. I mean, I anticipate 2021 being a fantastic year moving forward. So,
and just for the sake of the recording, I was not accosted. I just was caught off guard. And totally valid questions by Councilmember Van Rees. And I was glad that I'm an engaged board member.
And hey, Perry, admittedly, I'm behind on email and things go to spam. Do you mind just backing up and?
Oh, sure.
What's the backstory?
Yeah. So my apologies. So, in fairness, I only send it to Blake, Don.
Yes, as you should. As you should.
Thank you.
Teresa approves.
And John mentioned, so I felt that was approved or comfortable, I should say. Teresa told me. Anyway, so at the council meeting, I was up for reappointment, as was John.
Okay.
I was able to speak to the council, and in doing so, because it was very virtual, and John, yours will not be, just FYI, yours will be in person. Yeah. So in that conversation, I didn't realize that Councilmember Van Rees is now the chair of the Rules and Appointments Committee. It's something I understand. So she wanted to ask a couple questions regarding what did the auditorium learn during COVID, and how are things going, essentially. So I talked about the women being housed there and how we've interacted and learned, et cetera, from each other. And then she also said, can you give us an update on the Live Nation contract? And I was like, well, I'm not ready to say that at this point. However, what I am able to tell you is, and I went down a whole PR 101.
Nice.
Don't answer the question, answer it this way. So I was able to say very high level that we have a good 2021 coming, and a lot of rebookings of cancellations from this year that were already showing up. So, and that seemed fun. I think she really, and she didn't ask, I don't think she asked many questions of anyone else, but she was very interested in the auditorium. And when she was asked to table the question specifically with me / auditorium offline, her second question, she really made a point to say, no, I think this is important for us to discuss as it relates to the appointment. So I don't think, and I have a personal relationship with her, so I don't think it was, anything drastic other than she wanted to make sure that her questions were answered. So I thought it might be a good faith effort to follow up with, as mentioned, here's the actual report or detail.
Thank you for doing that and for the update. It sounds like you handled it great, of course.
Thank you.
And she needs a tour.
So yeah, it would be great. I don't know, Blake, if that comes from you or Nisha, Don, whoever, but
I'll huddle up with Dawn and just kind of figure out the best way. And it may be a situation where one of us just shows up at John's appointment, and then we're just there to kind of dig in deeper if they'd like to.
Sure.
Okay.
Just from a follow-up standpoint, I'd love to close the loop on it.
Yes, and I would appreciate that.
Helping you
Put the target on your chest, right, John?
I'd handle it, but I'd sure like the backup.
I get it. One of us will be there, John, I promise. Fantastic. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Harry. It's great. Anyone else? Okay, let's move into the Live Nation contract. Teresa, do you want to kind of give some context and introduction to the business of the Live Nation contract?
So, as y'all may remember from the last meeting, the term of the Live Nation contract is originally for 3 years, beginning August 2nd, 2016, and then that contract allowed for an extended term that could be invoked to extend it for 2 additional years for a total of not to exceed 60 months or 5 years. In 2019, the Auditorium Commission extended the term for the first year of the extended term period through August 1, 2020. And so obviously at the last meeting, we were up against that deadline and not quite there with the renegotiations, kind of amending the term of the Live Nation license agreement in light of the current larger circumstances, the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we asked y'all to just extend the term for a period of 60 days to buy the parties a little more time to continue with those negotiations, which y'all kindly did. And that 60-day period expires September 30th, 2020. So once again, we are kind of right up against that deadline. And in the meantime, the parties did continue negotiating and elected to change the compensation terms of the license agreement to account for the current circumstances. So this is both an extension of the license agreement and an amendment to it. The license agreement, the original agreement, provided for Live Nation to pay an annual license fee in 2 installments for a total of $333,334 per year. And instead of that compensation arrangement, the new amendment changes it to provide for various different prongs of compensation, which are a $2,500 monthly per event rental rate, then a $3 per ticket fee that will go to the auditorium instead of to Live Nation, as the original contract provided it to go to Live Nation, and a 10% of concession revenue to go to the auditorium, where all concession revenue used to go to Live Nation, and 5% of merchandise revenue would also go to the auditorium, where that used to go to Live Nation. So that compensation setup in the amendment is different than it was in the original. And further along those lines, the Municipal Auditorium had submitted a claim to Metro at the end of March of 2020, invoking the force majeure provisions of the license agreement with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic, and asked for abatement of the license fee obligation beginning in April of this year. So the amendment accounts for that as well, to the extent they had prepaid their license fee for those months. We would waive the $2,500 per event rental fee until the amount of the prepayment is added up to, and at that point, they would again have to begin paying the $2,500 rental per event going forward from that point on. There was also just a handful of other terms added where we just made it clear, given the current circumstances that have been discussed in this meeting of the use for the women's shelter, that either party under a declared state of emergency complying with necessary requests of government officials with the authority to do so would not be deemed to be in default of the contract for that compliance. And I think that was basically it. I think that was basically the terms of the amendment. Don, can you think of anything that I'm leaving out? Or Blake?
I think you covered it. Tanisha, Don?
Yeah, I think she covered everything.
Okay.
That's it.
Yep. So basically, in order to take care of the $111,000 some odd balance that we have with Live Nation, instead of writing a check back to them, we're going to compensate them by this new rental agreement that we have and waiving the rental fee until that $111,000 has been taken care of. That way the city does not have to write a check. We all have money issues right now, so we're figuring out the best way to move forward and keep business moving under the constraints that we're all under. So that was the theory behind this particular deal, in my opinion. It'll take an average of we ran a couple of models. Don, you want to speak to the models that we ran with the past shows that we did and the revenues, et cetera, and then how they look under this new deal?
Yes, we ran a 20 show average, and with the facility fee and based on those averages, they're doing about $4,000 per show. And with the facility fee, which would be $12,000 a show, concession $4,100, rent to $2,500. With those numbers, I do not have the merch numbers. I have to get those directly from Live Nation. Without the merch included, those 20 shows would come to $372, $460. So we'd make $372,000+ without merch included in that. So we'll exceed what we were making with this type of agreement. And that's based on 20 shows. And that's typically what they run per year.
There you go. So it feels like a fair deal for everyone. It feels like a advantageous deal for Live Nation and us as well, which is always the kind of deals I like to cut. I like to cut deals where both sides win, and I think that's what we have here. So if there are any questions, Dawn and I will be happy to address it, or whoever else, Teresa as well. Everybody okay?
Yeah, just to be clear, once again, I don't know if this needs to go under discussion or now, but this is only amending this part of the Live Nation existing contract. So it is still an exclusive preferred promoter deal for the
Not exclusive, preferred, the preferred. Exclusive means there's no other promoters allowed in the building. Preferred just means yeah,
Right.
they
That's
get more rights than anyone else. Yes.
wanting to
More
make sure
privileges.
in record that's still in place.
Commissioner, no other provision of the agreement is being amended other than what's been set forth in the proposed amendment number 1 document that was circulated to the members of the commission, and that's before you today for approval.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the amended agreement as presented by City Council.
So moved.
Thank you, Vera. Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Let the record reflect it passed unanimously. All right. Moving on to new business. Is there any new business that anyone would like to bring up? No new business? All right, then. Even though we're not going to have a debate on it, want to know if anybody objects to us adjourning right now. Anyone? Anyone? All right. I hereby call this meeting adjourned. Good seeing all of you, by the way. It's great seeing you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.